Do you guys want to sing the good morning song? Yeah. Good morning, good morning. How are you? How are you?
SEAL is about language development, rich language development, giving kids the language for all of their worlds and for all of their purposes. And for children that are growing up in different language worlds, they need skills to speak in and across those languages.
Buenos días, buenos días, ¿cómo estás?
In this classroom, the day started with children singing a song in 3 different languages. It's the 3 languages that are the home languages in this classroom: Mandarin, Spanish, and English.
Ni hao ma, ni hao ma, go ha ho, go ha ho, do say, do say.
¿Se acuerdan que estamos aprendiendo del otoño? Y hoy vamos a aprender de la calabaza. Quiero enseñarles esta foto. ¿Qué ven en la foto? Ajá, es una calabaza. ¿Pueden decirlo conmigo? Calabaza.
In this classroom, there's times when it's instructional time in Spanish, and there's times when it's instructional time in English. What we see here is instructional minutes in Spanish, where they're talking about the pumpkin. And they're talking about the life cycle of the pumpkin and beginning to really get in depth about what that means.
Voy a escribirlo aquí arriba porque es nuestro título. Díganlo conmigo. Calabaza. Calabaza. Okay.
A draw, tell, and label is a brain-compatible approach to drawing, and so kids are seeing this thing appear before their eyes, talking it through as you're drawing, showing them pictures of what it actually looks like, and labeling the words so kids are seeing in print what the teacher is verbally saying.
Miran, abajo de la flor está creciendo una calabaza muy pequeña. Digan conmigo, calabaza pequeña.
This strategy uses the part of the brain that's activated through visual signals at the same time as it's being activated through the audible signals of her talking about what she's seeing. But also, as they're hearing it, they're beginning to associate print, text that she's writing, with sounds. And that sound-text correspondence is an early literacy skill that children at this age are just ripe for.
Estamos hablando mucho de calabazas, ¿verdad? Digan conmigo calabazas.
Calabaza.
Es una palabra un poco largo. So, quiero ver si ustedes me pueden ayudar contando las letras. ¿Me ayudan? ¿Sí? Ok, vamos a ver. Empezamos con la C. Contamos 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. ¡Oh! ¿Cuántas letras hay? 8 letras. Es una palabra larga.
At one point, the teacher pauses and has them count the letters in the word. They're coming to understand that letters make up words, which is a really important early literacy skill. So this is literacy development in the context of learning about and talking about the pumpkin, in the context of hearing and knowing the story about the whole life cycle of the pumpkin.
Calabazas aquí, calabazas allí, calabazas, calabazas alrededor de mí.
A draw, tell, and label has a lot of content in it, and it's actually for children to sit and absorb that and to take all of that in is a lot. It's important for them then to be able to stand up and sing a song and use their bodies, still using their part of the brain that's focused on the pumpkin, so it's thematically connected. They're using some of the vocabulary about the pumpkin, but they're doing it now in the context of something that is fun, that is rhythmic, that involves motion, and that they clearly love doing.
Calabazas allí, calabazas, calabazas alrededor de mí. Ahora vamos a tener una investigación. Sí, vamos a tener una investigación en las mesas con las calabazas. ¿Están listos? Sí. Wow. ¿Qué hay? Semilla. ¿Quieres usar la lupa para verlo de cerca?
Muy grande.
Están grandes.
In addition to hearing about something and looking at pictures, Young children need to actually be tangibly engaged in hands-on interaction with what they're learning. It adds a whole different element to their understanding.
¿Qué estás haciendo aquí? ¿Es una letra? ¿Sabes que se ve como la J? ¿Cuántos son?
1, 2, 3.
3. ¡Wow! Muchas semillas. ¿Vas a comer todos estos? Pruébalo. ¿Sí? A mí me gusta. Ahorita vamos a ir a escuchar un cuento en inglés, ¿ok? Entonces necesito que cambiamos nuestros oídos, nuestro canal al inglés. Noah, cambia tus oídos. Ready for English?
Yeah.
Okay. Aquí están las semillas de la calabaza, Miss Amy.
Oh, thank you.
De nada.
Thank you for the pumpkin seeds.
One of the things about maintaining the integrity and the separation of each language is that children know when one language is stopping and when another one is starting. So one of the beautiful moments in this classroom was the handoff from the Spanish-speaking teacher giving the pumpkin seeds to the English-speaking teacher, and you see that clear separation of here are the pumpkin seeds spoken in Spanish, thank you for the pumpkin seeds spoken in English.
On a windy autumn day, Marla Little comes running down the hill yelling, what does she? Help! My giant pumpkin is
Rolling away.
onward it goes, rolling and turning with no sign of stopping. She says, diddle-dee-doo.
Oh, what shall I do?
In a SEAL classroom, we use the strategy of interactive read-alouds and repeated interactive read-alouds. What we see in this classroom today is obviously not the first time this class has heard this book, because they already know the refrain. They're already jumping right in there with fiddly-doo, or what should I do? And that's one of the points of a repeated read-aloud, because we want kids to begin using that language, and the teacher very skillfully leads them through understanding the whole narrative.
So what are they making?
Pumpkin soup.
They're making pumpkin soup. You're right, Ayana.
The choice of language is a very important feature for young children. There are times when it's Spanish time, there are times when it's English time, and there are times when it's your choice about which language you want to be engaged with.
Señor Calabaza.
A key part of a SEAL thematic unit is the creation of a dramatic play environment that's linked to the theme. Because this is about the change of the seasons, because it's about fall, the dramatic play area in this classroom is filled with, of course, pumpkins and apples and things at a market. And they just get to play there.
¿Puedo pagar con esto? Es una moneda muy grande. ¿Sí? ¿Lo aceptas?
That's an
Apple.
apple, and these are,
Pump.
how many pumpkins?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is apple. Que hay adentro de la calabaza.
Ajá. ¿Y adentro de la calabaza qué hay?
In a SEAL classroom that's so much about description and learning to label your world and talk about your world, observation is a really important skill.
Can you tell me what you see in the picture?
Pumpkin.
You see pumpkins.
That's a roof.
Where's the roof? Kiss your brain. You are thinking. Wow. And what are these things right here?
Sticks.
They're sticks. They're branches. Can you say branches? Branches. And what else do you see in the picture?
Pumpkin.
So I'm going to hang this picture up, and I want you guys to draw a picture on the easel. You guys want to paint together?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you're making the house. I see that square up there.
This?
Yeah, the roof.
So first they're talking about the art and what they see. And then they turn to their art supplies, and the teacher has put out the same colors as were in there for the children to create their drawings. And so we see children creating their orange pumpkins and creating the house and the barn, similar to what they saw in the piece of art. And the point is not that we want them to mimic somebody else's art. It's about observing, it's about using your eyes and using the skills of art. We're in an era where dual language early education is going to become increasingly important. We already know from a research point of view, it's what we ought to be doing. It's the most effective, most powerful education that really speaks to the needs of children in the 21st century. This classroom that we're seeing today is one approach to a dual language education for young children. And in this classroom, they are being engaged in language, engaged in two different languages, becoming very aware that two languages are useful in the world and that what can be said in one language can be said in another, and it gives you much more reach to be able to use both languages. Those attitudes as well as those skills are essential for our young children, and that's the kind of education we need to be delivering.
Calabazas, calabazas, calabazas. Muy bien. Se pueden